How long does it take for your company to activate a new customer? Nuvo helps LBM suppliers get customers ready to buy on house accounts in minutes, not weeks, not days. With instant verifications, streamlined job sheets, and real-time credit insights, your team can start loading trucks while your competitors are still checking references. Check out Nuvo. Reach out to the team at nuvo.com, that's nuvo.com, to learn more. Hey there, I'm Thea Dudley, also known as the Credit Overlord, and welcome to LBM Talks Credit. We are the only podcast that talks trade credit in the lumber and building material space. Never miss an episode, stay tuned, and we're glad you're here. Hey, welcome friends to LBM Talks Credit. I am Thea Dudley, your host, also known as the Credit Overlord, and today we're talking about something very dear to so many of our hearts, and that's having absolutely no time for anything. Now, as a credit pro, we never have any time, and we've made this one a short one so that you can listen up during your snack break. With me today is Jon Flora, the CEO of NACM Seattle BCS. Well, so credit pros are drowning, but the question is always, why won't they ask for a life raft? You know, it's like we hunker down. It's like, I've got no time for work, no time for webinars, conferences, training, implementing new systems, but somehow I have time to complain. And yes, we're calling it out because we love you and we want you to improve. So, Jon, what do you think? I'm calling it the great shortage.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of different ways to approach this. I could tell you right now, I don't have enough time. And in some cases, that's true. Some of that is a self-fulfilling prophecy. And if I say it long enough, I'll believe it. I'm actually, as you know, I'm sort of on the glide path to retirement, sort of taking the slow boat to China to get there. But
yeah, I see that retirement's working out for you.
Yeah, right. So I will tell you that I work half time for NACM, but then I have some other things I'm doing, and I'm also now dealing with family business and all that kind of stuff. And there's just a lot of things, and how do I've never been one to manage my time as well as I would like, and I think a lot of our members and customers are sort of in that same boat. I had the pleasure of working for a couple of people early in my career. They would touch a file once, they would move it, they would do the next one, they would move it, but there was never a pile of stuff on their desk. I've never been able to do that. Both of them had really good assistants at the time. That helped, but they had a discipline to manage their time well that I think a lot of our folks don't have. And it's hard to get there. I'm trying really hard in my sort of new world order to get there. And part of it means there's a trash can nearby to get rid of stuff. But also it's really taking a look at, if I'm thinking of a credit manager dealing with a lot of files and doing all the stuff they do, how do you manage that approach? It's not to say, you're now the last man standing, they've gotten rid of everybody, you're it. That's a legitimate issue. And then I think you have to sit down and talk to the boss. But I think there's also a time management question here. And can you do that better? I'm not being critical. It's just a question to ask.
No, I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's time management, but it's also a prioritization issue, kind of wrapped in a tech excuse and then like some denial. I know a lot of credit people that they can't let go of things. It's, I'm the only one who knows how to do this, or we like to do it my way. Let me walk you through this. It's like, honey, just go take your day off. I don't need you to coach me how to do this. If I screw anything up that bad, no one's dying on the table. We will fix it when you get back. But, I think some of it is self-inflicted. And yeah, I know things are staffs are shrinking and everybody's got more demands on them, but is it truly burnout, resistance, survival mode, and excuse? I mean, Jon, you see a lot of things. What do you think?
Where I am right now, we're in this post-COVID world, and who knows what this is going to be. But we've seen attendance at educational programs drop. It's starting to inch back up. But recently, the NACM National Credit Congress happened in Cleveland in May, I guess that was. And we had some people drop out at the end because their budgets had been cut. I get that. But we also had fewer people register. And so the question is the boss saying, no, you can't go? Or are people just not choosing to go? And or somewhere in the middle, maybe they're afraid that if they go ask for this trip and this conference, the boss is going to say no. Who knows? In any case, I think one of the things I think I've seen with credit managers is a difficulty advocating for themselves. And frankly, if you go to a class, go to a webinar, a forum, whatever you want to call it, and you learn one thing that maybe saves your company a whole lot of money, suddenly you've just made the case for attending more educational programs and maybe even getting some help. We had a webinar yesterday with our good friends at United Transactions who do payment processing and all that sort of thing, do a great job. And one of the things that I learned out of that, I wasn't aware of it, but Visa and MasterCard are currently doing kind of a secret shopper routine to see who's abusing surcharging and fee structures.
Oh.
And if you're caught doing that, you can end up paying a hefty fine. They may hit you with a small one up front, but they can also hit you with some big ones that are all legal because you signed the contract. But they're out there looking right now for people that are not following the rules. Okay, right there, that one little takeaway is something that would save a company a lot of money if they're in the wrong, or if they're dealing with someone who's in the wrong, and they can pass that on. One way or the other, you've just saved somebody a lot of money.
Even if your company isn't guilty of that, or they didn't get caught, maybe they are guilty, but they didn't get caught. Yeah. The other side of that is, these are things I want to be able to report back to my company. And when we're having either a credit department meeting or an accounting back office type meeting, or, even a monthly managers meeting, and you want to pull together, it's like, hey, this is what's happening in this space. Here's benchmarking, here's how we stack up, here's how we're doing, here's new things that are coming out on the market, here's new ways to help us improve, here's just keeping up on my job with lien laws and collection laws. I mean, California just had a big change and it's still going through the courts again. I guess it's going back to see if it on your debt collection, some finite things there. But there's so many things that are ever changing. If I don't stay current, it's not like it's just to set it and forget it. If you don't stay current on the role you're choosing to be in, that's on you. How are you not fighting for that education? How are you not fighting? You make time for what's important to you. And that's one of the things that, I think gets kind of lost in all the noise that, I can't go, or, if we could get some tech in here, it would help me. It's like, don't confuse tech. That's going to be, this big solution for everything that you do. It's like, if your processes are broken, you're just layering another problem on top of the problems you already have, and it's not going to make it go away. So back in the day, we didn't have tech, Jon, and we had the same pressures. I've never been in a right-sized credit department. I've never went, yeah, I'm so overstaffed, I'm just going to let some of these people go. I've never had that.
Well, the other thing we see with tech, and when I began my career in the early 80s, I heard it was the first time I'd heard do more with less. And I bought into it because I was 24. And we did more with less. And as time went on, that saying got really old. And when I hear it today, it really drives me nuts.
You're like, I'm so over it. I don't want to hear do more with less. I'm like, maybe you guys could eat out less, and then we would have more. Now I'm just getting snotty.
But in terms of the technology question, inevitably, and I think there's some cool products out there. A number of our members are using them or starting to get into them. But you buy it, you also have to train. And so you've got to learn this new product while you're also doing your regular business. And sometimes that's not factored in on the front end. We're going to buy this really cool tool that's really going to help you, Thea. And that's great. So it gets installed. And then what about training? Oh, well, and I just had this conversation in our office the other day. Most of us are self-trained when it comes to stuff like Outlook, Microsoft Word, Excel, all those. And we have people, at least once a year say, could you do a training on Excel? Sure, we can do that. But you got to come. And in this time, it's not going to be free because it's not inexpensive to get somebody in to teach that. But we're self-taught. And so we use what we know how to use, but we don't use the rest of the toolbox. And I think that's the concern I have about some of the new things that are coming in for credit. Are we going to be taught to use the toolbox, or are we going to be taught to use, some of the basics of all today?
Well, what's funny is, and that's a good point. It's, hey, we're going to get this. It's going to be great. The company comes in and walks you through some stuff, and everything seems really simple. And then you get into it, and you have to start thinking of your lowest common denominator person on the team. And what I usually end up talking to people about is, once you get that tech in here, it's going to be a good, 3 months or longer before everybody on the team is comfortable with getting in there, has made the transition, feels like they can move around in it and not feel like a disaster. And then you're going to start seeing that return on your investment. It's not like you plug it in and the software is there and you're like, and now we're cooking with gas, folks. This is amazing. I can just book through this. That's not how it works. It takes a little bit of time for you to kind of get into that groove. So, it's often a challenge that doesn't get thought about. Like you said, when you purchase it, it's just right there. And I do want to address one of the things that you said, because you just touched on it. And it's like you're ghosted by your own people. You're sitting there going, okay, you asked me for these education classes and I've provided them. And then I put them out there and 3 people show up, and I don't want to disappoint the 3 people. But it's not practical. We heard you send out surveys and, oh yeah, I want this training, I want that training, or where can I go for this? And I know we're in an instant gratification world. We can record it on YouTube and you can go see it whenever you want. But when you're asking for certain classes, you guys got to show up. And we're still a relationship-driven business where you can reach out and call people. I guess it depends on what it is that you want from your career, your job, how far you want to go. And I know you shared a story with me about connecting with your membership. And I'd like you to share that with the listeners here.
I assume you're speaking about when we were calling all of our people.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that story.
Yeah. Well, we divided the membership list up among all of our staff, so everybody got to do a little something. And I'll just pick a round number. I think I'm pretty close, where each person had 40 names to call. And they probably actually connected with 10%. They got lots of voicemail. But a few people actually answered the phone. And for those that did, they were appreciative of the call, which has always been the case. It's one of the things we're good at. So we call people and we talk. And when we got them on the phone, most of them had some issue they wanted to talk about. They were having a problem with one thing or another. They couldn't get their Experian password to work. And we field those calls all day long and we fix the problem. It's what we've done for 125 years. And so for those 4 or 5, and so I don't know, probably at the end of the day, we probably touched 50 out of 500, call it. And those all got some help. And we were able to direct them wherever they needed. We were able to fix their problem and encourage them to sign up for the class, go to our website, look at a whole bunch of stuff that's recorded there from past events. Our recent newsletter even includes a link to your LBM programs. And people are excited about that.
Yeah, we really appreciate that.
Just that we're sharing resources that I hope people will pay attention to. But boy, it's pulling teeth. And then just sort of a tangential thing that hopefully we can fix. We learned the other day that the legislators here in Washington, I'm in the Seattle area, but here in Washington, they passed a new tax bill because they were broke, allegedly. And they are going to put sales tax on these kinds of classes.
Oh,
So
come on.
if we have a
Let's make it harder and
or
one
a
more
seminar or
thing.
a conference or whatever, we have to charge sales tax. And so our lobbyist called me and said, what do you think? And I said, I think we need to work on this one. They're missing the point of why we do what we do.
Yeah,
And
that's
oh, by the
crazy.
way, we're a nonprofit. Did anybody think about that? And so we have to this January, when they're back in session, we'll go slug it out and see if we can change the law. But that's just one more stupid thing to get in the way of educating the workforce. And it's not just our association; it's the construction people. It's you name it. There's any number of associations
it's
that are doing
always
educational
something.
programs.
So, Jon, we started talking about not having time for anything and feeling like you're just under the gun all the time. And that led to the whole education piece because they all seem so intertwined, where you talk about putting on sessions or education and then the time crunch comes into it. So let's talk a little bit about strategies because honestly, it's not about squeezing more into a calendar. It's about giving yourself permission to get some help. And that's something that you and I have talked about before, that not everything needs to be solved in 30 seconds. Yeah, I can't when someone comes to me and they're like, hey, here's the problem. It's like, should we charge? Surcharges are not on our credit cards. That's not a lot of times something you can solve in a vacuum. It's going to take a larger conversation. It's going to take some more data, but it's okay in an instant gratification world to say we need to stop and take a beat.
Agreed. And I think the concern I have at this point is we have a lot of our veteran credit people retiring. We knew it was coming. It's not like it's any great secret. And some of them have stayed on, which is great. But they are retiring. It's inevitable. So we have new people coming who may not know the profession very well and kind of have grown up in a immediate gratification space. And this stuff takes time. I mean, to learn about surcharging, for example, a surcharging program takes a minimum of a half an hour. So it's not something you just kind of click and go, oh yeah, whatever. And then you have to, if you really want to do it, you got to spend some time doing the work that helps you factor what that's going to save you. And usually it's a lot of money and you can become an instant hero in your company. So that's a really good topic to talk about, but it's not something that's going to happen just in a quick 5-minute phone call.
And that's true. Those are the things that it's okay to be able to go to a session and find out more information about, where you can go and have conversations with other credit managers, how they've solved it, how they approached it, what tools they used, how they had the conversations with customers, with people on their team, with their CEO, with their president. All of those things come into play. So, I know we also talked about that whole clean desk syndrome. I'm a clean desk person. I'm not a piles person. I don't like piles around on my desk. That's that kind of thing that just drives me nuts. It's like, I'm going to touch this once and throw it away. Or because if you're on the bottom of a pile, by the time I get to you, you're trash, because that problem's already been solved. So not only is it okay to give yourself permission to, take a step back, to go and get some education, to learn, I think we need to step away from the self-fulfilling prophecy of we never have any time. I go back to that and I stand by it 100%. You make time for what's important to you. If there's something you truly want to get done, if connecting, if that education piece, if, training your people, whatever it is that's on your agenda is truly important to you, you're going to find that time to make that happen.
Well, the other, I guess in the spirit of advocating for yourself, if you do attend a webinar, a seminar, a conference, whatever, it's incumbent upon you to go to your boss and tell them what you learned. And clearly, I mean, there are times I think back over the last many years, and I can remember getting off the elevator in the hotel in Las Vegas one year, and there's a member sitting at the slot machines. I don't think she's moved for the whole week. I don't think she attended anything, but she sure enjoyed Las Vegas. I wouldn't go to my boss and tell him I did that. But there were lots of good educational programs there, and your boss spent money to get you there. and put faith in you to get there and take the classes. You should come back and share, not only with him or her, but also your colleagues. And I think that starts to build a discipline. And
definitely,
I think that's exciting, actually.
Well, and do you think people get time management confused with being organized?
Yeah, I do.
And the micromanaging piece comes into it. I know and I'm going to kind of paint with a broad brush where people get bucketed, as people of a certain age group tend to be maybe a little more micromanaging with I'm entrenched in this is the way that I do it. And we follow these steps. And, you know what? In the time it takes me to explain this to you, I could have already done it. And then it does become that self-fulfilling prophecy where you're never going to get out of your own way because you won't let yourself.
Correct. And, I'm sitting here looking at my cell phone over here on the side, and I think back to early in my life, and I used to have everything in a day timer, a written calendar.
Oh yeah, wait a minute. They were like these big things. They were like the trapper keeper of the work world, where that just dated me.
Yeah, my dad lived with those for years.
Oh yeah, with the whole thing, and they were so cool. God, they took up so much room in your briefcase. It's so much easier.
I had a pocket version, and then I also had the desk version. And this thing has replaced all that. And I have days when I think back, having it in writing was a good thing. And so, in my new world order, I have I'm big on keeping lists so I can keep myself straight. And when I was in Hawaii the last time, I bought this little book that's just nothing but empty pages. But it's where I keep my list of stuff I got to do. And I have a similar one on my phone, but I don't look at it. I look at the paper one, and I can put it in my pocket, and off I go to do whatever I got to do. But that keeps me organized, and I think it also helps me use, when I finally get around to the stuff in the list, it helps me use my time better. And
whatever works for you. I mean, I don't, if it's, writing it on your arm, if it's your phone, if it's your iPad, if it's, a little notebook, whatever helps keep you on track. I know usually at the end of the day, I will, on top of my laptop, I'll put, must do, or don't forget, so that I have something physically there. I use a combination of tools. I think it's healthy, whatever works for you. But I hate that we're getting that tech almost makes it, not that I'm bagging on tech, but I don't use it as a crutch for not being able to stay connected and stay on top of your profession. So what would be like a couple of really cool takeaways for that whole I don't have time for anything mantra?
Partly because of what I do for a living that involves members and being with people. Take advantage of every opportunity that you can to be engaged with, like an NACM affiliate, wherever you happen to be. That we're all over the country, or some other credit reseller. I mean, I think of Credit Management Association in California. They're independent of NACM, but they do what we do. And they have educational programs. They have trade groups. They have a chance. We all offer chances to network. And that network is really important. And I think when you get a chance to spend time with people of a common mind, you'll realize, A, you're not alone, and B, they may have some ideas to help you. And I think that's probably the big takeaway for me. And then from there, sign up for the education. I mean, give me a break. We do webinars regularly. They're at high noon Pacific time. They're free. You can come. You can get something out of it. Do it over your lunch break, and then get back to work. I mean, everybody has time to do that. I will counter it. I'll argue with anybody who says they don't. You got to eat, and you might as well do something while you're eating.
That is okay. So that's true. But I love that it's like, let's just stop pretending that time's going to magically reappear and start prioritizing what's important to you. And it's actually going to make your job a lot easier. So, we're going to just take 30 minutes, learn something, and then you can email Jon and I and say, you guys are so brilliant. You solved this problem and nothing flat.
Absolutely.
So I would like to take a moment to say a huge welcome to Nuvo, our sponsors through, I think, I don't want to say the end of time, but certainly through the end of this year. And we're so happy to have them. If you have not become familiar with Nuvo, they are an amazing company that will allow you to get your customers onboarded and your orders out the door in minutes, not days, not weeks, but minutes. Check them out at nuvo.com, nuvo.com. And I am sure you're going to learn something that will make you smile and save you time, as we were talking about in this episode. And that wraps this edition of LBM Talks Credit. I'm Thea Dudley, along with Jon Flora from NACM BCS. And our illustrious guest and I are wishing you a great rest of the day and happy clicking.